Thank you very much. I spoke to Mike D'Antoni, the head coach of the Phoenix Suns, and I asked him, is tonight a must-win game for the Suns? He said, well, the politically correct answer would be no. We'll get Joe Johnson back and we can still compete in this series. He said the practical answer and the reality is, yes, we are approaching this as a must-win game. If we're to lose tonight, we would have to win 4 out of 5 against this San Antonio team and 3 of them in Texas. He said the reality of that is a long shot. That's why it is imperative that we win this game here tonight. Mike?
And they know, Jimmy, because they were the best road team in the league this year. They get a victory tonight. They really feel they can win in San Antonio, which was the toughest place to win in the NBA this season for road teams. First pass from Ginobili is a turnover, and Marion looked to break. Richardson for 3.
Continues to struggle, Quentin Richardson. 3 straight subpar games here. This will not get it done with the aforementioned injury to Joe Johnson that Jim Gray refers to.
Duncan with Stoudemire on him.
This is a change from game 1, Mike.
And Duncan well short.
Phoenix started game 1 with Sean Marion on Amari Stoudemire. This is a much better move for Mike D'Antoni.
So we see the first adjustment from game 1 to game 2. Stoudemire gets inside. Duncan can't handle it, but Parker comes away. Parker really pushed the pace in the first quarter of game 1. And the energy, according to Mike D'Antoni, was down in that opening period. They only scored 20 points as Ginobili misfires. Najee Muhammad, the offensive rebound, taken away. And Jimmy Jackson comes out of the pack.
Try to find Steve Nash. Get him going very early. Mismatch here, spread the floor. Get Sean Marion the ball in the post.
Nash immediately recognizes that. Marion can't hit. And here comes Ginobili.
Sean Marion can get a better shot against Tony Parker than that.
Muhammad. And a nice entry pass from Ginobili. Nazir Muhammad, who has been one of the real surprises for San Antonio in terms of how many points he's been scoring recently.
He's an outstanding all-around basketball player. Big mid-season pickup from New York Knicks.
Nash finding Stoudemire. First assist of the night for Nash.
San Antonio on the possessions for the Phoenix Suns have found themselves with untenable mismatches here. Nash will pick you apart with that.
Tony Parker talking about the best way to defend Steve Nash is to make him work on the defensive end. Parker knocks it down. Boy, he made him work in game 1. And a turnover, trying to push the ball. But I think Mike D'Antoni doesn't mind that because he just felt they weren't running. They didn't have that energy to start the game. And we're down by 10 after the first quarter in game 1.
The Phoenix Suns are the best conditioned athletes and team in all of the NBA and professional sports, I feel, but they were down from the big victory Friday night. This is a chance of the full 48 hours between game 1 and 2.
Muhammad puts it in. Sean Marion looked like a bit of a flop there, and the officials let it go.
Why are you flopping? This is the Western Conference Finals.
Nash gets inside. Pretty play from Nash. And the Spurs off a make, looking to push, just like the Phoenix Suns. And Parker lost it out of bounds. It's going to be San Antonio ball. He can't believe the foul wasn't called. Veteran officials, as you would expect in the conference finals. Bennett Salvatore, the crew chief, with Billy Spooner and Kenny Maurer.
I like what San Antonio is doing. They're attacking Steve Nash on every opportunity. Tony Parker, probably the quickest player in the entire NBA.
Ginobili gets inside. Bowen, we've seen him some moves off the dribble in these playoffs. Marion, the rebound.
Phoenix needs to do a better job of defensive rebounding. Offensive foul, Nash. Easy play to call. Just ran over Ginobili.
And Nash very calmly expressing something to Billy Spooner, who says, okay.
Tries to initiate the dribble handoff. Manu Ginobili, not a lot of contact to get knocked down by little Stevie there.
Ginobili, of course, very dramatic whenever he gets hit. There was certainly contact, and that was the right call.
But the great thing about Steve Nash is he's always looking for somebody else to get going. And for a point guard to initiate a dribble handoff, that's just brilliant. That's Magic Johnson level.
Ginobili goes at Stoudemire. And that's what they want to attack when Stoudemire is guarding Duncan. Stoudemire has been so terrific this year, but he still has trouble defending the pick and roll.
Far too often, the Phoenix big men, Stoudemire and Sean Marion, they wait at the hoop to try to block. You got to come away and attack him on the pickup of the dribble.
Nash given an opening, and Steve Nash 2 for 2 from the field.
he already looks better than he did in game one.
He put up very strong numbers in game one with 29 points, 13 assists. Hard to find some fault, but the fourth quarter defensively is where it collapsed for the Phoenix Suns.
Tony Parker at 29 and 7.
Muhammad with Marion on him. See if they try and exploit the height advantage there. Marion plays him very well. You can see an extra bounce to the set with Sean Marion after that rough game one.
Tony Parker is guarding him. Sean Marion should just have a field day on Tony Parker.
Ginobili with the strip. And Parker comes up with the ball. And Tony Parker, boy, he loves this pace, Bill.
Tony Parker would just as soon play against the Phoenix Suns every game.
And that's going to be a blocking foul on Tim Duncan. Didn't quite get position. And that will be his first foul. Stoudemire will go to the line where he's been frequently in these postseason.
Nobody likes to hear when the other player is the guy who's responsible for winning this series. And Tony Parker is coming out head-to-head against Steve Nash. But with Amari Stoudemire, the beautiful crossover and the step through. Beautiful initiation of the contact. And when you get your lead foot outside of the stationary defender, it's got to be a blocking foul.
Stoudemire, of course, just in his third year straight out of high school. We talked to him yesterday and asked him what's the favorite compliment that he receives, and he said, I love it when people tell me I've really improved, because he has put the work in it. He's obviously tremendously athletic, but he's worked so hard on improving his jump shot, Bill.
But the time spent with Tim Duncan and the Green Team this summer in Athens, learning from the master about preparation, about the footwork necessary to be outstanding as an all-around basketball player, working with Mark Ivaroni, the assistant coach for the Suns, on his post-game. Nice step under by Parker, who's on fire.
Parker, 6 quick points to start. Nash has really had his problems guarding him. Nash is a smart player, but he's not what you would call a great defender. Richardson, and boy, that is a sight for sore eyes for the Phoenix Suns. Quentin Richardson with a three.
But equally as important as that three going down is Phoenix and Steve Nash. He's got to do something to control Tony Parker. He's torching him right now.
Bowen stripped by Jackson. And they say last touch off Bowen's leg. It's going to be Phoenix ball. You know, we got here early before the game, Bill, and Richardson, who, as we mentioned, has been struggling shooting the ball. But Quentin Richardson was out bright and early here at the arena, and he was knocking down threes after threes after threes, trying to get his stroke and his confidence back.
But that's in practice, and this is the game.
But the only way you get better is by practice.
I understand that, but he's been practicing for a long time now. And you got to be able to deliver peak performance on command at this level.
Spurs lead by 1, 6.5 remaining in the first. A much better start than what they had in the first quarter of game one for Phoenix. Nazi Muhammad, left-handed block, but that's a goaltend. That one clearly on the way down.
Again, trying to jump high at the hoop as opposed to coming out with a good angle. You allow a really solid post player like Nazi Muhammad to come in there and just think you're going to get it at the rim. That's a goaltend every single time.
Nash falls down, lost his dribble, so he's okay to pick it up there. Shot clock down to 8.
Stoudemire's just got to go to work here. Turn and face, get in the air.
Oh, nice defense from Muhammad. He continues to impress.
A complete basketball player, Nazi Muhammad. Never tries to draw attention to himself. Very solid defensively, a good rebounder.
Ginobili, shot clock down to 8. Suns playing much harder defensively than we saw the first quarter of game one. Parker, that's a two-pointer. And Sean Marion with his third rebound.
Push the ball relentlessly if you're a Phoenix. Find Quentin Richardson.
Richardson inside, left-handed. Robert Horry with the rebound.
Not quite sure why you pass up a wide-open three to get a left-handed running hook, which you probably haven't made even in practice. But when you look at the power forward position, really, if you count Duncan as the center, from game one, you've got, between Muhammad and Robert Horry, you've got 21 points and 14 rebounds.
Yeah, so big numbers as Muhammad and Robert Horry come out. Muhammad, a guy who says he lives his life every day for his father, his late dad, said, I don't want to disappoint him. His father died tragically back in the year 2000. He was actually murdered back in Chicago, where he raised 11 kids. And Nazr Mohammed always thinking of his dad. And said that's what inspires him day after day. Doesn't want to disappoint him.
Nazr Mohammed is one of the real class acts in this entire league here. Incredibly well-spoken, so many interests on and off the court. As hands by Steve Nash. I'm not sure why the Knicks made that trade.
Well, they got Malik Rose, who's such a popular player in San Antonio, plus a couple of first-round draft picks. That was the key to the deal for New York. Meanwhile, it's worked out well for San Antonio. Ginobili can't hit, and Mohammed with another offensive rebound. Mohammed, tough shot, knocks it down. Mohammed, 8 points and 3 rebounds.
And they're playing terrific ball so well that they put Tim Duncan on the bench for a couple of moments of rest. Making sure that ankle's going to be okay.
Ankle looked pretty good in 40 minutes in game 1.
But he did tell us he's still bothered with some swelling on that ankle.
They take advantage. Marion. Mohammed goes over, help alter the shot, and does it again. Nazr Mohammed with a huge impact to start this game. Robert Horry hits it. It's a three-pointer for Horry. So the official looked at the line, make sure it was a 3.
So many players contributing in a positive aspect. You don't even need Tim Duncan at this point.
A 7-0 run right now by the Spurs.
Great closeout defense by Nazr Mohammed.
Stoudemire, second opportunity. Well, Parker came very close to getting whacked. Richardson tips it, and a foul's going to be called on Manu Ginobili. Second team foul.
Nazr Mohammed making his presence felt early on, just backing down Amari Stoudemire, looking at him, faking one way. That's Hakeem Olajuwon type basketball on the post play there. And then Robert Horry, the puppet, he doesn't want to put this ball up, but they ran away from him. Phoenix looks stunned here by the quickness of the San Antonio Spurs.
Nash misses. Duncan lets it go out of bounds, and it's San Antonio ball.
Nash is having trouble with Parker. He's your best player. Sean Marion, your third best player, is having all kinds of difficulties. Now you got Amari Stoudemire on the bench right now.
But Marion's playing a different game. He is 0 for 3. He hasn't scored, but he's much more active. He's got 4 boards, and he's much more on the flow than he was in game 1. Brent Barry, who had that unbelievable fourth quarter in his first minutes. Duncan, beautifully done off the glass.
How do you guard that? I mean, it's just perfect. He learned that bank shot while he was at Wake Forest in college.
The lead is 10.
San Antonio's defense just stifling.
Oh, Richardson. There's a way to get yourself going.
When you cross over Robert Horry like that, you know you're in the zone. Run something else for Quentin Richardson at this point.
And Mike D'Antoni going to his bench very early. Walter McCarty's going to check in.
Robert Horry, who's so versatile defensively, he's got the length on Richardson. Maybe back up a half a step there.
That's just a great play, though. He's very powerful, and they need him not to just look for threes all the time. Need Richardson to take it to the basket. He's one of their low post threats.
Beautiful back cut.
Marion rejects it out of bounds. Boy, that was very close to being a goaltend.
San Antonio just can beat you so many different ways. That's a great block. Just the quickness, but again, the big men waiting at the basket. Your defense has to be preparation. You can't think you're going to be blocking a lot of shots in a game of this level.
Duncan wanted the ball. Parker kicks it out to Bowen. Shot clock at 2 now as Horry hits another 3. Robert Horry with a couple of three-pointers, and it's an 11-point lead.
A 5-time champion, Robert Horry, certainly knows what's at stake here tonight in a must-win game for Phoenix. Another turnover, Steve Nash.
Barry quickly down the other end. Parker on the trailer. And the Spurs playing sunlight basketball right now.
Phoenix in trouble. They need a timeout quickly.
Just over 2.5 remaining in the first. Spurs again in control in the opening period. They lead by 13. And head coach Greg Popovich saying those who think the Spurs are a slow down, dump it into Duncan type of team are sadly mistaken.
We haven't been a half-court team ever since Parker and Ginobili have been here. we can do some things in the half court, because if you've got a Tim Duncan, you ought to be able to do something in the half court. But those guys have pushed the pace for a while now, and it's been important to us because with the way the league is going and with the changes in the rules, that pace, that attack mode is important.
Tim Duncan, the constant. Since he's been on the Spurs, they have had the best overall record in the NBA. But the complementary players who they keep bringing in, now Brent Barry and Robert Horry, to complement Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, and Ginobili.
Nash puts it in. But just look here. That's an example, Bill. With the Spurs have 26 points, Duncan only has 2, and that's part of it. He's so unselfish. He doesn't care how many points he scores.
Tim Duncan is only about the winning, and this is so reminiscent of what happened in Game 1. Huge numerical advantage for the Spurs.
Parker. And Marion high for the rebound. Marion playing with all the energy, but he needs to start scoring to help them offensively.
Never mistake activity for achievement, and right now the Suns are just flailing around.
And on cue, Marion with a chance for a three-point play. We've seen Marion and Richardson attack the basket early when the three-pointer's not going.
Sean Marion, who just was 1 for 6 in Game 1. The jumper there. This matchup, interesting strategy to come with Bruce Bowen on so many different types of players, but that's, again, to the versatility and the dexterity of this entire Spur roster.
You know, Bill, you bring up Bowen, so much made of what Sean Marion didn't do. How about what Bruce Bowen did do? He turned in just a superb defensive effort, as he normally does. Richardson knocks it out. Bowen, a first-team All-NBAer. He's made life miserable for a lot of very good offensive players, and he did it for Marion the other day.
But most of the guys he does it against are the pretty boys on the perimeter. Guys who he's got size and strength advantage over. He's playing the power forward and taking Sean Marion out of it.
Robert Horry won't go. You think, all you big guys think the perimeter guys are pretty boys.
No, that's what they think. Steve Nash has got 4 turnovers. That won't get it done.
Stoudemire, foul. Duncan blocked it. It's going to go against Robert Horry. So Duncan will not pick up the second. Horry picks up his first. And it's Stoudemire right back to the free throw line.
Amari Stoudemire, who's the future of post play, needs to be able to get a better shot against someone like Robert Horry.
This is the first. Coming up Wednesday on TNT, Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals from Miami at 8 Eastern. Pistons looking very impressive in winning Game 1 last night. And then Saturday on ESPN, Game 3 as this series shifts to San Antonio at 9 Eastern start there.
How about Ben Wallace just looking at Shaq and Alonzo Mourning and saying, hey, come on. Bring that stuff right here. That guy can play ball.
Rasheed Wallace's defense was just superb as well. Ginobili.
What spacing, what ball movement by the Spurs.
And they get a wide open three. Now Ginobili knocks it down, and the Spurs 3 for 5 from downtown.
Precision basketball. It started with Manu Ginobili, and then it came all the way back around.
They're shooting 52% from the field, which is what they finished with in Game 1.
And they've shut down Steve Nash, cut off his vision, make him into a scorer.
For what they've done with Nash to put him so much defensive pressure. He's got 8 points, a couple of assists, but he has 4 turnovers, Bill.
And San Antonio has converted those turnovers into a ton of points.
10 points off turnovers for the Spurs.
San Antonio has 1 turnover.
Sean Marion the rebound. Good transition defense again by the Spurs.
Oh, nice pass, Nash.
They looked like they were going to have the numbers. Instead, it turns out to be a turnover. The Suns have a foul to give here.
The transition game by San Antonio in both directions has been vastly superior to Phoenix, which you think they'd have the edge there.
Shot clock winding down. Bano Udrih gets inside. Oh, beautiful move from Udrih and poor interior defense. Nash's shot will not count.
The problem with the Suns trying to get physical, they don't have the depth to come in if guys get in foul trouble, particularly with Stoudemire and Marion.
Nash, the floater, sit down. Steve Nash, again, shooting quite a bit. He'd much prefer to pass, but he's 5 of 6 from the field.
As long as they get it from somebody. Problem is, Amari Stoudemire's not having a sharp game, and Sean Marion's struggles have been well chronicled.
Robert Horry giving a lot of room. You see Stephen Hunter's on Duncan now. Hunter actually defended him pretty well in game one. Got some size.
Steve Hunter's a good basketball player. Generally referred to as the big tease in his career.
Nice feed inside, and Stoudemire fouled once again. It's amazing how he just keeps getting to the line. Leads the NBA in free throw attempts during the postseason, amongst the leaders during the regular season.
But we're really talking historical level numbers here. The beautiful execution of the sliding big man down the lane. Those passes between Hunter, Marion, and Stoudemire in the basket area, they've got to be a little higher. When they come down below the waist, it takes too long to get it all the way up. And Duncan, Horry, Nazr Mohammed, they're too good.
Although Ginobili committed that foul, that's his second. So Ginobili, the first player with 2 fouls here in the opening minute of the second period. Duncan draws the foul right away. And Hunter just not aware that time defensively.
Outstanding execution of the set offense. They run the double stack with the big guys, Duncan and Mohammed on one side. And Mohammed flashes across the lane. And all the defense goes with him. And then Duncan is left wide open. He gets the ball and a trip to the line.
Duncan, of course, with that left ankle. At halftime of game one, they had his ankle in the whirlpool. And he said he was a little worried about coming out afterward, but obviously it felt pretty good as he played 40 minutes and put up some very strong numbers.
You're playing with a bad ankle out there. Always a good idea to get retaped at halftime.
Let's check in with Jim Gray.
Hey, Mike, he had his legs, both of them, both ankles in the whirlpool before the game, and he will do the same thing again at halftime, and he is tightening the ankles really, really heavy with tape. Says he's always done it. Says the problem isn't when he starts to play. He gets better after the 8-minute mark. He says the problem is when I stop. It'll be fine if we could just keep playing this whole time through the series. It's these days off and the lack of practice and the lack of rest. Once I get going, it's not a problem, so they'll put them both in the whirlpool at halftime, Mike.
Thank you, Jim. Nash inside. And Nash setting up Sean Marion. Marion already with more field goals here in the first half than they had the entire game one.
Signs of life for the Phoenix Suns. Finally some penetration and freedom for Sean Marion.
Barry rattles in a three. Brent Barry, 21 points in game one. And gives the Spurs an 8-point lead here. Stoudemire. Hunter can't control it, and a 4-on-2.
A bigger lineup for the Phoenix Suns than they've used to in the course of this push to the Western Conference Finals. But right now, everything is San Antonio, and the Suns are a step slow to react.
Spurs now 5 of 7 from downtown. Jimmy Jackson. Jackson with a big bucket to cut it. Jackson shooting so well in the playoffs, 50% from three-point range.
But while Phoenix is playing with 3 big guys, it's the Spurs coming with the 3 little guys.
Foul on Sean Marion. He doesn't like the call, but he put up the arm. And Marion picks up his first. Second team foul on the Suns. Spurs will inbound. Still Jody chatting with Kenny Maurer. He has a way of looking happy when he's angry.
But the great thing about D'Antoni is that he's always so positive. Very little contact right there, and the way that Ginobili is expert at flailing the arms, drawing attention to the referees.
Well, he's got to be happy with what he's seen from Sean Marion.
They're down 8 on home in a must-win game.
But one of his best players is much more active. Udrich misses. Mohammed, a travel and a turnover. Only the second one for San Antonio. Tony Parker did not make it in time. You have to be to the scorer's table prior to the violation call down the other end. Parker just missed.
The problem with this for Phoenix, with these 3 big guys, Hunter, Stoudemire, and Marion, they haven't played a lot together this year. The same way with Mourning and Shaq last night. Steve Nash just too good.
Nash now 6 of 7 from the field. He is putting together one of the all-time great playoff performances, not only in Suns history, but for a point guard.
And the whole time this is happening,
Mohammed, offensive rebound blocked by Stoudemire. Duncan comes up with it. A lot of physical play down low. Duncan gets it to Barry. Blocked by Marion. Diving on the floor, but Bowen comes up with it. Shot clock is not reset. It's down to 9. Bowen for 3. The crowd getting energized, Bill.
Something that Phoenix desperately needs here.
Hunter whacked, and that's going to be Tim Duncan's second foul. John, thank you. Game 1 loss didn't dampen the enthusiasm from the faithful here at America West, and the Suns within 6. Meanwhile, a physical battle early. Nazr Mohammed, we said one of the high character guys, but it's not beneath him to do something illegal, Bill.
Going to the ground, Nazr Mohammed fighting in there. When he gets rejected here, knocked to the ground, he grabs the legs of Stephen Hunter. Says, you're not going anywhere while I'm down here on the ground. Stephen Hunter trying to get away, and he just keeps holding on, tugging, and then the ball comes right back. Nazr Mohammed says, don't land on me, whatever you do.
So Mohammed off to a superb start, 8 points, 5 rebounds, and a little shenanigans.
But what a great pickup. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's younger, he's better, and he's cheaper than Malik Rose, the guy they traded him for.
While Stephen Hunter played 30 minutes, he only averaged 10 minutes a game in the playoffs prior to that. And played some big minutes. Want to remind you, tune in to catch the best in women's basketball. Diana Taurasi and the Phoenix Mercury take on the defending Eastern Conference champion Connecticut Sun next Saturday at 4 Eastern on ABC. Ginobili with 2 fouls and Duncan with 2 fouls, but Duncan remains in the game.
San Antonio did not look overly concerned about what Phoenix has thrown at them here. I expected a stronger response from the Suns.
Well, after that one poor stretch on a 14-2 run, they have responded the last several minutes. They trail by as many as 13, and it's now a 5-point game. Mohammed. Did he double dribble? Looked like he dribbled once when he first caught the ball.
I'm old enough to remember when that was double dribble, but they've changed the rules. It used to be if the ball hit your body, any part of it, and then hit the ground, that was your dribble. But now it has to be an intentional dribble for it to be considered double dribble. And that certainly was not.
The inbound with 2 on the shot clock. Duncan has to put it up. Tim Duncan hits the top of the backboard for a 24-second violation.
Okay, can the Suns capitalize right now? The crowd trying to get them going here. But with Tony Parker fresh as can be, sitting out, Beno Udrih did a very nice job in his replacement.
Nice pass. Stoudemire inside. Stoudemire gets the offensive rebound, banks it in, and a foul. 8-0 run.
Impossible to guard Amari Stoudemire when he's coming at you at the hoop like that. The double clutch, they come to the pick and roll. The slip pick right there by Amari Stoudemire. That double clutch tends to kill him, but his unparalleled athleticism gets him right back to the line for the three-point play. We got a ball game.
He's already taken 7 free throws, averaging over 13 a game in the playoffs, and it's a 2-point game. 9-0 run. Duncan lost it, but Hunter the foul. Bennett Salvatore blew his whistle right away. He had the perfect angle. And the key here is watch the hands. You can't have both hands on. There's both hands.
That's an easy play to call. You just grabbed him.
You can have a forearm and a hand.
Use the bent forearm right there.
Officials, as soon as they see the 2 hands, they blow the whistle.
Better yet, guard him without touching him. You're playing a great offensive player like Duncan. You don't want him to know where you are.
Make it sound easy.
It's never easy. A lot easier to talk about than to do.
Or he misses. Stoudemire the rebound. Again, the Spurs do a good job getting back defensively. Transition defense, the #1 key for this team, according to Bobovich. Stoudemire. Suns have tied the game. 11-0 run.
Stoudemire's come alive. Nash has found him a couple of times. No three-point shooting for the Suns right now.
They're getting on their feet. Pass thrown away by Parker. And they picked it up a bit defensively as Quentin Richardson comes in for Stephen Hunter.
more conventional lineup for Phoenix. Space the floor a little better. You got Amari Stoudemire on a roll. Milk that hot hand. Get him back to the free throw line.
Nash. Deflected by Ori. And still Suns ball with 11 on the shot clock.
San Antonio's defensive preparation is masterful. When Nash comes floating through the lane like all the Spurs defenders are staying at home in a knees flex position. They are anticipating the next play. What a pass.
Stoudemire. And the Suns with their first lead of the game. A 13-0 run.
Capitalize on the crowd. Popovich wants a timeout right now.
Mike, during that last timeout, Tony Parker told the whole team we knew they'd make their run. Now we just have to withstand it. They also were trying to help Nazr Mohammed defensively on the switches. Then Coach Popovich came in and he said, hey, it would be a good idea if we could get a stop. He said real sarcastically. He said, Steve Nash is the best player in the league. We don't have to leave him alone. Mike.
Sarcasm at his best for the coach of the Spurs.
Well, he knows that's what works best with Tim Duncan. But Tim Duncan's on the bench with 2 fouls.
Bowen with another 3. They are 6 of 9 from three-point range. See, Bowen is on Nash. Parker's on Marion. Oh, just in transition. Or if they made a switch. Ball knocked loose. Richardson picks it up. Nice feed to Stoudemire. Shot won't go, but a foul.
Stoudemire is so strong in his hands. He's got such a spring to his step.
Nazr Mohammed picks up his first.
First of all, he drops the ball initially. Ori with the tremendous dive. And then when you're in this situation with Amari Stoudemire, I think you pretty much just have to let him go. Because he's going to knock down free throws.
And so powerful he can still finish after the shot. Now, of course, the key to their team this year, Bill, was Amari Stoudemire accepting playing the center position. He didn't want to do it. Mike D'Antoni said, trust me, you want to having this great season. We asked him yesterday, if Mike D'Antoni said to you, would you go back to 4? Would you do it? He said, absolutely, right away. He'd do it in a heartbeat.
It's amazing how the youth of today are so confused. The center is the best and easiest position to dominate this great game.
And it works for him. He has so many mismatches because of his quickness. Ori not expecting the pass. And the Spurs a little sloppy here in the second quarter with 4 turnovers.
The only centers in the history of the game who didn't dominate with quickness were Wilt and Shaq, who've got plenty of quickness in addition to their unparalleled, unmatched physical attributes of size and strength.
Offensive foul on Richardson, so that's his first. Just past the midway point of the second. San Antonio led as much as 13. The Suns went on a 13-0 run and have taken the lead.
This is so similar to game 1. Big start, 10-point lead at the end of 1. Just like today. Oh, the bank shot.
Manu Ginobili with 10 points. You've got to call that. Stoudemire. See, this is the kind of defense the Suns can play by coming up with steals, quick hands, blocking shots. As the foul's called on Tony Parker. And the Spurs now on the penalty. So Nash will go to the free throw line. Parker, his first.
If you're the Phoenix Suns, I think your biggest concern right now is that Steve Nash has not been able to dominate Tony Parker. You win at this level when your best players are kicking it into high gear. And Steve Nash, numbers, yes, nice, but not control and impact.
ESPN's coverage of the Western Conference Finals continues Saturday night at 9 Eastern. Suns will be in San Antonio, Game 3 of this series. Game 3 also available in high definition on ESPN HD and on ESPN Deportes. Steve Nash, what a spectacular season. The MVP returning to Phoenix as Duncan's going to come back in. Nash, of course, he wanted to finish his career in Dallas, but they didn't offer him the kind of money Phoenix did. And what a turnaround it's been for the Suns. Parker to Mohammed. Left-handed. Second tip. Nazr Mohammed, 10 points and 6 rebounds.
And Amari Stoudemire has to learn how to become a more dominant force on the defensive boards.
Jackson misses.
Jim Jackson not having a strong night, and that is a major concern.
Well, they need him to score because he's not strong defensively. Parker up and under. Pretty move from Tony Parker. Parker, Ginobili, and Muhammad all with 10 points for San Antonio.
And with Duncan on the bench, Amari Stoudemire can just eat all that stuff up.
Nash says, take that. He's got 16.
The pace of this game is a little different than the Eastern Conference.
Parker doing a Nash impression there. Stoudemire fighting, and Muhammad couldn't hold on. Richardson for three.
These are wide open looks for Quentin Richardson.
He's 2 for 5 tonight. Under 4 minutes remaining. Ginobili, and that's just poor defense. No one coming to help out.
But Amari Stoudemire does not play the preparation defense that you get from the big men of the San Antonio Spurs.
It's the area of the game that he really needs to improve on. He has to become a better defender.
When his man doesn't have the ball, he just is standing straight as can be.
Richardson misses again. And Ginobili a rebound. A little extra bump from both players. And Greg Popovich wants a timeout.
And you have the talent of Ginobili, who is a lead player who can play beautifully without the ball. Tony Parker, as quick as anyone in basketball in years. And Ginobili to the hoop again.
Manu Ginobili going right to the goal. And again, no one from the Suns putting a body on him.
Well, they've taken Amari Stoudemire out. And now it's Stephen Hunter and Sean Marion.
Coming up on 3 minutes remaining. Richardson takes it inside. Nice adjustment. Can't finish. Hunter on the follow. Marion tries to keep it alive. And they wisely pull it back out.
Well, many of the Suns big men, they just bail out at the hoop with the quick little flip shots. That won't get it done against Duncan.
Once again, Nash and Stoudemire doing most of the scoring. 32 of the 46 Suns points.
Great defense, Ginobili.
Richardson lost it. And Quentin Richardson continues to struggle. He felt the ball was tipped. He's got to be careful yelling at Kenny Mauer. And Mike D'Antoni wants a timeout. And a technical foul called on Richardson. Bill, he might have been arguing that it should have been Suns ball and not that it was a foul because it may have been last touched by Ginobili. Let's go to Jim Gray.
Mike, that's exactly what he's arguing, that the ball was hit out of bounds, not that it was a foul. And Ken Mauer, to his credit, let him curse him a couple of times, but he finally heard enough, and that's when he got the technical. Mike?
Well, thank you, Jim. I let you curse me before I get angry.
I don't curse. But the laws of physics, Ginobili was pulling the ball back in his direction. It had to be off Quentin Richardson.
Duncan is fouled on the way up. And the Suns starting to react to the calls. Sean Marion picks up the personal. That's his second.
Beautiful passing. Ginobili, so unselfish.
That looked like wasn't a bad defensive play. Although you can kind of tell Marion felt there was some contact. So Duncan to the free throw line. Just 3 points for Duncan, and the Spurs lead by 5.
And that's the best news that Greg Popovich has had. This is a great Spur team, and right now D'Antoni's task is to rebuild the confidence and sense of attack that we've come to expect from this outstanding Phoenix Suns squad all year long. Right now they're back on their heels. Their big men are not delivering on the defensive end. Amari Stoudemire's got something going on the offensive end, but he's sitting down for a long stretch right now.
The second quarter, a roller coaster ride. And as you see, the Suns, after trailing by 13, went up by 2. Nash knocks it down, and it's back to a 5-point game. 18 points for Nash. He's 8 of 9 from the field. His shooting percentage is always amazing. One of 3 guards this year in the NBA to shoot over 50%. Jason Terry and Mike Miller of Memphis, the other 2.
Those 2 are good players, but they're not as good as Steve Nash.
Ginobili stripped this time as Nash comes away. Marion running the floor. Sean Marion, too much English. Richardson on the follow. And that's what the Suns have been lacking in the first 6 quarters of this series. The all-out fast break.
Sean Marion needs to finish stronger. And he's got the ball against Brent Berry in the paint area. Just go up and throw it to him.
Parker traveled, picked up his pivot foot. 5 turnovers in the second quarter for San Antonio. shooting percentages, 47% for San Antonio, 53% for Phoenix. Remember, they shot the ball pretty well in game one. Scored a lot of points. It was defense as Richardson turns that over.
There's nowhere else for D'Antoni to go. That's the problem.
Again, Joe Johnson not playing with the orbital bone injury on the eye. He may play on Saturday, and not to make excuses, Bill, but they really miss him. He's a good defensive player, and he's also their best three-point shooter in terms of percentage.
Joe Johnson is just 23 years old.
Ginobili way short. Nash, nice tip ahead to Richardson. And Ginobili with a terrific defensive play.
That's the way it's been for this Spur team. Just all the attention to detail. The extra effort by the Ginobilis, by the Brent Berries, the Nazir Muhammads. And that's what D'Antoni is not getting from his players. Jim Jackson hasn't brought it tonight. Sean Marion continues to struggle. Quentin Richardson, a no-show.
Duncan. Marion the rebound. And there you see once again those two doing a bulk of the scoring.
That's a classic example of the difference between San Antonio's defensive big men and the Suns.
Nash. Excellent defense from Duncan. Jackson wide open. Spurs will hold it for the final shot of the half. They are on their feet at America West Arena. Parker right at Hunter. Won't go, and a foul. Oh, a loose ball foul on Duncan, and that's his third. And the Spurs in the penalty, so free throws coming up for Richardson.
The worst of all possible worlds for Greg Popovich, Bruce Bowen, and the rest of the Spurs. Duncan talking to Ken Maurer saying, hey, look, what about the initial foul on Tony Parker? You're not going to call that. How can you call this on me?
Duncan calmly trying to make his point, but with 1.2 remaining, Duncan picks up his third foul.
It was obviously a foul on Tim Duncan. Tony Parker gets hammered there. Everybody getting held, and Duncan, who's wrapped up initially, grabbed the pin of the elbow down the lane. Tony Parker.
Hunter does a good job contesting without the foul. And obviously Richardson grabbed him. They both had each other by the arm. But then Duncan with the swing. And the Suns have regained the lead with 1.2 remaining.
It's amazing that the Suns have not played that well and still have the lead.
They're shooting 54%. Muhammad the rebound. And that will end the first half. In the final 2 minutes of the second quarter, Phoenix goes on an 8-0 run. They were down 13 early, having some problems, but the Suns come back. Let's go to Jim Gray.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. Steve Nash, 18 points here in the first half. Didn't seem as though to the announcers, Bill Walton, and us watching that you guys played that well. How is it that you have the lead?
Well, I think we're just desperate, so we made some plays defensively where we kind of got our hands on some balls and kind of limited them after a big first quarter scoring, and I think that kind of kept us in the game.
How did you come back from that 13-point deficit and not kind of roll over in this instance?
Well, we're digging ourselves a big hole if we don't win tonight. So, like I said, I thought we got our hands on a lot of balls for a run there. We slowed them down, didn't let them score for a great stretch there. I think that's why we're back in the game.
How are the smallest guys on the court, yourself, Tony Parker, and Ginobili, dominating the game?
I don't know. Big hearts, I guess.
Steve, thank you. Good luck in the second half. Mike, back to you.
Anywell.org.
Mike, thank you, Coach. You have the lead here at half. It wasn't a great half in terms of turnovers. What did you say to your team going forward that you're going to have to do to win?
Well, we're just going to have to quit forcing a one-on-one. We need to pass the ball, go pick it, go screen somebody else. But they're a great team of loading up and taking one-on-one plays away, and we move the basketball, we'll be okay.
Feel fortunate to be in this position?
Oh, yeah. Steve Nash, we shot the ball extremely well to overcome 11 turnovers.
Mike, good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Back to you, Mike.
All right, Jim. And certainly defensively, which was the big problem in the fourth quarter of game one, they got their hands on some more balls, blocked some more shots.
A good sign that the Suns have the lead. That gives them hope. This is their whole season right now. must-win game. Only have 2 players playing well. Steve Nash has already played the whole game. Amari Stoudemire not in foul trouble. That's very nice. But unless Richardson, Marion, and Jim Jackson come alive here, this could be it for the Phoenix Suns.
One key foul note. Tim Duncan, as you see there, with 3 personal fouls. Did a good job on Duncan in that first half. Stoudemire, short, Duncan the rebound.
Not the type of set offensive execution you want to start the second half. The season on the line.
Bowen. Duncan lost it. Here's Nash, the 3-on-2 for the Suns. Perfect timing on the pass. His 7th assist.
And finally, points off turnovers. Always a critical sign for the Phoenix Suns. Spurs don't turn it over. Their offensive balance is generally brilliant. They only had 6 in the first half. That was their first on the opening possession.
Duncan spinning inside, and Tim Duncan just his 2nd field goal. Only 7 points for Duncan.
One of the reasons they want Amari Stoudemire on Duncan is that Stoudemire is a better on-the-ball defender than off, and Steve Nash just continues to amaze with incredibly difficult shot attempts.
Billy's mixing up, shooting, and finding his teammates beautiful.
We're talking historical level performances here. We're also talking a lot more than just the heart. As Tony Parker answers immediately, the heart that Steve Nash talked about to Jim Gray at the half.
Richardson for 3. A huge boost. That's his 2nd 3-pointer of the game. And the Suns with their largest lead.
And for the first time, the sense that the Suns are dictating how this game is going to be played.
Parker fouled. And Nash realizes it. Steve Nash called for his 2nd foul. Nash played the entire first half, Bill. And, you know, it's tough. You don't want to take him out. And especially with Joe Johnson not playing. Johnson sometimes plays up the backup point guard. But he's playing so well.
He's not coming out.
Duncan inside, using the left hand. Nash again gets inside. Bowen guarding Nash on this possession. Ball poked away. Stoudemire diving. Nash saves it, but Marion can't hold on.
Needed one more dive. First it was Amari, then Nash. Sean Marion just couldn't keep it going.
And Parker, once again, nobody stepping in to help defensively. Parker's got 14.
Credit Popovich and Parker coming out with an attack of, we're going right at the other team's best player.
Nazir Muhammad with his 3rd steal of the game. Ginobili gets inside. He got hit in the face. Little late whistle at the call. And Ginobili, Jimmy Jackson say, hey, wait a minute, he hit me. And Ginobili's going to go to the free throw line.
So difficult to guard Manu Ginobili, but they should realize that he is left-handed. Nice left or right arm, excuse me, for the left-handed player out in the guy's face.
He did get hit in the face, but Jackson also got whacked as well. As Ginobili goes to the line.
Why, when you're going to the hoop or whenever you're jumping, big guy, little guy, keep both hands on the ball until the very last minute, and then just lay it off right into the defender coming your way.
Ginobili was drafted in '99. The Spurs couldn't decide if they were going to draft Manu Ginobili or Lucas Vitoriano, who was a point guard on Argentina with Ginobili. And the reason they picked Ginobili is because they thought that Popovich would never play a foreign point guard, so let's go with a 2-guard. I think they made the right choice. Richardson, another 3.
Best news of the playoff for the Phoenix Suns fans that Quentin Richardson is starting to heat up here. Tony Parker, he's an international player.
Duncan puts it in. They took some convincing to get Parker as well. Not in the lineup, but just to choose him. R.C. Buford, the general manager, who's done such a great job putting this team together, made sure that Parker was on this team as Duncan draws the foul. Another chance for a 3-point play. And Parker's that. And Eva Longoria in attendance. Tony Parker Sr. played his college ball at Loyola of Chicago, then 15 years in Europe, and schooled Tony about the game and got on Tony. I talked to Tony the other day, and he said, Coach Popovich isn't the only guy that gets on me. Dad gets on me, too, when I'm not playing well. So what do Mr. Parker and Eva talk about?
You'll have to ask them. I'm sure there are a plethora of things. I think the pick and roll was a big discussion in the first half. 2-point Spurs lead. Duncan, 12 points. Remember, in the first half, he only had 5. He's got 7 in 3 minutes here in the third.
Great team defense by the Spurs.
And Hunter lost the ball.
There's that big lineup again that doesn't provide the spacing. Yes, maybe some more defensive presence and rebounding for the Suns of Hunter, Stoudemire, and Marion. Jim Jackson not getting it done tonight.
Ginobili looking for Duncan now. Duncan, double team. Bowen. Rebound, knocked loose, out of bounds. Suns ball.
When you give up a three-pointer wide open on one side, you have to own the defensive basket on the other side on the rebound.
Richardson and a foul. Amari Stoudemire goes right to Richardson to say thanks for the pass. And Duncan has picked up his 4th personal foul.
Down the lane, Ginobili giving up penetration there at initiation of the contact. Things are changing here in Phoenix. Popovich up off the bench for one of the few times tonight.
Duncan arguing with Billy Spooner. There was not a lot of contact, but he was there. And Duncan with 4 fouls.
Go back to the end of the first half when he picked up that 3rd foul with 1 second to go.
And he started off this 3rd quarter with a strong beginning to the period. Stoudemire with his 10th free throw of the game.
And of all the great big men left, Shaq, Ben Wallace, Tim Duncan, it's Amari Stoudemire at 22, who's the best free throw shooter of them all.
Certainly the most frequent. Parker. Push shot won't go. Suns by 1. We play 4 minutes here in the third. Hunter inside. And Greg Popovich wants time.
They're all important fouls. They're all tough calls. This is the playoffs.
Suns get it back off the turnover.
Okay, San Antonio's got to keep it together right now. Jim Gray talked earlier in this game about this would be quite possibly a throwaway game. I don't see it right now. You got a chance to go for the kill if you're San Antonio. But Phoenix is surging right now.
Again, the Suns' best road team in the NBA, so they're confident they can win in San Antonio. Stoudemire inside. A 7-0 run, and this is the largest lead for Phoenix.
And it was Quentin Richardson who got it all going with those huge three-pointers. He now has 14 points.
And a foul is going to go, I believe, against Stoudemire.
And for the first time,
Bill.
And for the first time in this series, the Spurs are back on their heels. Running the pick and roll constantly, just get in the air and flip up those shots. Amari Stoudemire, we're going to be here a lot for many years to come watching him play.
Ginobili goes behind Ori. Remember, the Spurs were down 8 as Ginobili misses. They were down 8 with a minute and a half to go in the third. They're not panicking. This is a poised team. Nash. Hunter. A 9-0 run.
And now San Antonio walking the ball up, trying to regain control of the tempo. The big guys coming alive for Phoenix.
Parker. Offensive foul. And Tony Parker picks up his 2nd. Steve Nash starting to have one of those games, Bill. 20 points, 10 assists, and 5 rebounds. And here, a good defensive play.
Outstanding anticipation, Tony Parker. On the crossover, just can't get around Steve Nash.
Robert Orion, Stoudemire goes right by him.
Wow. This is Greg Popovich's worst nightmare. He's got to call a timeout. He's trying to call one because Amari Stoudemire has found his game.
Phoenix Gorilla and the fans here at America West very much alive as the Suns on an 11-0 run led by the magnificent Steve Nash.
And do they ever love little Stevie? And what's not to love? Now, on his way to record-setting performances, if he gets 5 more points, he's got his 10 assists and joins some of the real legends in the history of this game. More importantly, his Suns are on fire once again.
Parker, good play from Parker. Parker's done a good job not letting what Nash does affect him on the offensive end. He comes right back to attack. Greg Popovich says you have to have a mindset like a defensive back.
Yeah.
Stoudemire! Oh!
I don't know what you do against that. The guy jumped away from the basket to dunk it.
Parker again goes inside. Robert Horry. Short, but gets his offensive rebound. Bad pass.
Hunter is the trailer.
Oh, beautiful pass, but Horry with the strip. I don't know if they counted that as a shot attempt. They did, because prior to that, the Suns had hit 10 straight shots. Right now, they're 10 for 12 from the field in the third quarter.
This is the Phoenix Sun basketball that people around the world have come to love all season long. Steve Nash just having whatever he wants.
Bowen ahead to Parker. Parker looks like he shuffled his feet a little bit.
The floor is wet out there. They need to mop it up. That's twice now Tony Parker has come down the lane and tried to stop, and his feet sliding out from underneath him.
Tony Parker, 18 points of his own.
Just see little Stevie turn his back so Parker couldn't read his lips in terms of communication to Stoudemire.
Nash inside, block ball knocked loose, and Bowen comes up with it. Nash yelling at Billy Spooner.
Spooner right back in his face.
Robert Horry, travel. 11 turnovers for San Antonio, 14 for Phoenix.
If you're the Spurs, just keep your composure out here. Duncan will be back in the fourth. He's only got 4 fouls. Hang as close as you can. Try not to let this crowd get all lathered up.
Phoenix shooting 59% for the game.
And winning the battle of the boards.
Marion, tough angle. Stoudemire, the offensive rebound. Hunter keeps it alive, but Parker comes away.
Amari Stoudemire is such a remarkable basketball player.
Barry, way short on the 3. And Sean Marion with his 10th rebound of the game. Marion much more active tonight.
We've got a series here, Mike. Phoenix is starting to play their game.
Nash with a rare miss, but Hunter tips it in.
And what a nice move by D'Antoni, who realizes he doesn't have guards out there, so just move Sean Marion to the perimeter and come in with Hunter, who's going to give all kinds of intangible contributions.
Those runs are what makes this team so potent. They can go on these runs in a hurry. Nice feed, Parker. And Richardson whacks Muhammad. Nazir Muhammad will shoot some free throws. His mass substitutions coming in.
That's the fifth on the team foul.
And Steve Nash, the guy who was a first-round pick of the Suns way back in '96 out of Santa Clara, the only Division I school in the United States that recruited him. His first 2 years here with the Suns, he hardly played. He was playing behind Kevin Johnson and Jason Kidd. So then he was traded to Dallas, played 6.5 years in Dallas. But even when he was traded to Dallas, he helped the Suns because they got back the pick that they acquired Sean Marion with. And he thought he was going to finish his career in Dallas, but wind up signing here. And what a turnaround it's been. And people in Dallas, Bill, are still upset. Don Nelson said he had the best time of his career coaching Steve Nash and said a little part of me died when Nash left the Dallas Mavericks.
What's not to love with this incredibly wonderful human being in all aspects, besides the way he plays basketball? And you notice his left hand. Remember, he had that serious left ankle injury as a young boy where he had to do everything off his right leg, which led him to become so skilled with that left hand.
Meanwhile, you saw Tim Duncan with 4 fouls back in the game. Duncan's such a smart player. Coach can trust him to play with 4 fouls. Nash falling away. And Duncan the rebound.
I'm amazed at the shooting percentage that Steve Nash has. He's 9 for 13 with that miss right there, but the degree of difficulty of the shots attempted.
And a foul on Jimmy Jackson as Duncan trying to get some position. for the Suns. They're in the penalty, so free throws coming up as we go to Jim Gray.
Mike, Bill was just talking about what a great guy and a wonderful human being Steve Nash is. Well, here is a guy who is literally turning down all kinds of endorsement opportunities. They're piling in from all over the country, all kinds of companies, but he really wants to concentrate on his philanthropic endeavors. All of the giving away that he does. He wants to go spend some time in Central and South America, helping young children and so forth. So this is a guy who really isn't looking to accentuate and have things point to himself. He's really looking to give and to give back. Mike?
Yeah, Jimmy, and he deflects all the praise toward his teammates and toward his coaching staff. One of my favorite stories about Nash is when he played on the Canadian national team. He was the star player. They offered to fly him first class. They offered to give him his own suite on the road at the Olympic Games. He said, no, I'm going to fly coach with my teammates. No, I'm going to room with one of my teammates. And then before the games in Sydney, he went to Jay Triano, the coach, and said, here's some money. Give it to some of the guys who don't play in the NBA to let them have some fun. $25,000 he gave the coach to pass along some of his teammates so they could have a little extra fun during the course of the Olympic Games.
Geez, if only some of that would rub off on you, Mike, how much more fun our road trips would be.
And San Antonio, despite all these Phoenix Suns runs, are only down by 6.
Beautiful pass on Mari Stoudemire.
And Sean Marion, again, 11 points, 11 rebounds. Ginobili right back and scores. It's the Spurs who are scoring off makes in this series so far.
Stoudemire with 2 fouls, just standing on the ground there. Now, granted, you have to be careful, but get in the air and block a shot, please, Amari.
Stoudemire puts it in. He's so explosive offensively, but Bill, he really needs to play better defensively.
But he's taken the approach that, look, I'm just going to get it all back to the offensive end anyway. Why pick up fouls and maybe the coach would take me out of this great game?
He's got 27 points. Remember, he had 41 in game 1, his second 40-point game of these playoffs.
Wow, what a double team there by Amari Stoudemire.
Woodrick, Ginobili, that's a 3. Manu Ginobili with 21 points. And it's back to a 5-point game.
Steve comes up rubbing the rib cage there with the offhand off the dribble. That's the sign to Amari Stoudemire where he wants that pick.
Nash. The patience as Rasho Nesterovic went the wrong way.
Brent Berry doing a real nice job of staying home on Jim Jackson. They're not giving Jackson any sort of rhythm or wide open looks. Ginobili.
Duncan. Hunter may have gotten a piece of it. Duncan still put it in. Now at this time in game 1, minute and a half to go in the third, San Antonio was down 8. They're actually closer here in game 2.
But Phoenix is not coming off that unbelievable game on Friday night.
Right.
Which wore them out.
And you could tell in the fourth quarter, they didn't have a lot left after the emotional series against Dallas. They're having to play in a Sunday early game. Ginobili flips it up. Oh, Barry. And they get a new 24.
Long rebounds. Guys like Jim Jackson or Sean Marion, they've got to pick those up.
They're not a great rebounding team. Duncan. Woodrick for 3. And Stoudemire the rebound.
Get the ball to Nash. Keep pushing right here. You got a chance to go for the kill if you're Phoenix.
Ball knocked loose out of bounds. Nash has played every minute of the game. Has not sacked yet. Of course, played big minutes all season. Mike D'Antoni, most of his starters playing over 40 minutes a game in the playoffs.
2 for 1 time. Go quickly right here and get the last shot of the quarter.
Nesterovic getting some rare minutes. Shot clock down to 4. Nash. Barry the rebound.
Nice defense by Rasho. Patience, forced him into a difficult shot over a long outstretched arms.
You're surprised now when it doesn't go in. About a 6-second difference between shot and game clock. Ginobili. 2 on the 24. Won't go. Barry the offensive rebound.
Get your hands up as a defensive rebounder.
Ginobili off balance, and there's the buzzer. He wanted a foul, but that time he was just out of control.
Out here.
Ginobili looking for Duncan. Duncan playing with the 4 fouls.
But how have the Suns turned it around? +4 in points in the paint on the night they were pounding in game 1 in that. +10 in field goal percentage. They were outshot. +3 on the boards tonight for Phoenix. +5 on free throw attempts. All the critical things in terms of dictating the terms of the conflict, all in favor of the Phoenix Suns tonight. Duncan in the low post, a little hitch a la Hakeem Olajuwon, Kevin McHale, the masters of the jump hook. We asked Tim Duncan about that yesterday, if he watched them growing up. He said when he was at Wake Forest, he was not a big NBA fan. He was just focusing in on college basketball in those days, as he should.
Duncan with 18. Last foul on Udrih. Stoudemire spinning inside, the one-hander.
Well, such a difference from Amari Stoudemire. When he plays well, he's going to the rim strong and just getting in the air and flipping it up there. He struggles when he gets to the double clutch game.
Duncan, single coverage against Hunter. Hunter goes for the fake. Good help defense from Stoudemire. Make sure that doesn't go in. And Duncan will shoot 2 free throws. Duncan a little shaken up on the play.
Stretching his neck a little bit.
He's got, of course, the ankle problems.
Into the lane there, the little pump fake. Now Tim Duncan's got a very nice left-handed jump hook. Remember, he's hit one of those in game 1. He's also got that turnaround jumper right in your face, which he took to the Lakers a year ago in the Derek Fisher shot game at the very end. So difficult to guard this guy who has the complete repertoire of moves.
Duncan, in the second half now, has 14 points from the free throw line. He's 7 of 8. In game 1, he was 8 of 10, so he's shooting very well from the line in this series thus far.
And to show you how much he thinks about practice, he was the first guy on the floor tonight of all the players, including the deep reserves.
the deep reserves, as in the guys who don't play?
Yeah.
3-point lead.
The guys who you have to check to make sure they even have their uniforms on underneath their sweatsuits.
Nash getting into the lane. Shot clock down to 7. Richardson lost it. Nash looks up at the shot clock. Nash on the drive, flips it up in the air. Duncan got a piece in a 24-second violation.
You know what's really helped Phoenix tonight, too, is after the poor performances by Sean Marion and Quentin Richardson in game 1, they have come alive. They've combined for 25 points, Richardson and Sean Marion tonight.
Again, Nash has played every second. Has yet to sit in this game. Often he sits to begin the 4th. Parker with a little floater, and it's a 1-point game.
And San Antonio, again, coming right back with the Phoenix Sun game.
So Leandro Barbosa set to check in, perhaps for Steve Nash to give him a little breather.
I wouldn't take Steve Nash out at all.
But then down the stretch, Bill, he could be so tired. I mean, he's played so hard.
Why you have timeouts?
Nash gets it to fall. Nash with 24.
Because when he goes out, it drops off precipitously.
Mike D'Antoni very aware of that. But again, that's where they miss Joe Johnson, because he can play some backup point. Parker too strong. Duncan on the follow.
You have got to get a dominant defensive rebounder out there for the Phoenix Suns. And there's not one on the roster, but you look at Amari Stoudemire and Stephen Hunter's body and you say, why can't these guys get in the air and get some rebounds?
Jimmy Jackson trying to get untracked. Duncan with a tough rebound in traffic.
You know Jackson is struggling mightily when he's flipping the shots up and trying to curve and slice the ball right into the basket.
Spurs scored 43 points in the 4th quarter of game 1. Just exploding. And Parker tied up. Shot clock down to 4. Parker, that's a 3. And Stoudemire a rebound.
In that 4th quarter, they shot 73% and made 11 of their last 12 shots.
Stoudemire. Well, Spurs, they missed 6 shots the whole 4th quarter. 4 of them they got offensive rebounds on. That was as close to perfection in offensive quarter as you could have. Parker again getting in the lane.
Here's the grand circle route for the San Antonio offense.
Richardson from Nash. Steve Nash with the steal, and then his 12th assist. And Quentin Richardson so quiet in game one. He had just 7 points. He's got 16 tonight.
And Greg Popovich doesn't like the turnovers. Timeout right now.
Just over 3.5 gone by fourth quarter. Suns by 3. Time for tonight's storyline presented by City here in game 2.
Steve Nash, 24 points. 1 away from the record book for most consecutive games of 25-plus points, 10-plus assists. Tim Duncan, 17 points this half, even though he picked up an early 4th foul in the 3rd. And then the field goal percentage. In game 1, San Antonio shot 52% and held Phoenix to 48. A reversal of fortune there. And Steve Nash is going to sit down for the first time.
So Nash has played the entire way. Gets a breather as we go to Jim Gray.
Mike, he's laying down right here in front of the bench. He has a heating pack on his back. He just took it off and put it on his stomach. I asked him if he's all right. He is all right. He's just going to get a little break here. Other news of importance, I just spoke to Joe Johnson. He shot today with the mask in practice. He said he went hard, said the mask was not uncomfortable. It is his plan and his hope that he will play Saturday night in San Antonio, Mike.
All right, Jim. For Nash, that's nothing to be concerned about. He does that almost all the time when he's arresting.
Joe Johnson has to be very careful. 23 years old, 4 plates in his face, 18 screws.
Stoudemire, right at Duncan, who did not want to pick up his 5th foul.
We are witnessing the future of post play in the NBA right now in Amari Stoudemire, who's looking at Tim Duncan and saying, is that all you got?
For the 8th time in these playoffs, Stoudemire's hit the 30-point mark. Parker inside. Duncan.
And a great clear out by Tony Parker, who just had his arms all tangled up in the big man for the Suns. They can't even get the ball in bounds. That's how much they miss Steve Nash.
You got to get in 5 seconds. As Barbosa getting a chance.
Okay, well, where's the leadership on the court going to come from out of this group?
Stoudemire. Stripped by Muhammad. Stoudemire got it back, but he lost it. Nazi Muhammad has done an excellent job. Muhammad with 4 steals in the game.
They are just giving the ball to Amari Stoudemire and say, just go to the get to the free throw line.
Muhammad sits, Robert Horry back in. Stoudemire shaking up on that play.
He was icing that elbow in the Dallas series quite regularly. Maybe just because he's been dunking so much.
Tim Duncan puts it in. 1-point game.
Not sure why you would ever back away from Tim Duncan.
Barbosa caught. Marion with Parker on him. Stripped by Parker. And it's still Suns ball with 9 on the shot clock.
I'd come back with Steve Nash right now.
Nash not ready to come in just yet.
Yeah, but you got a timeout right now. Bring him right back in. We'll be coming back to visit him. He's got 31 points already tonight, 41 in game 1. Tremendous percentage, getting to the line, knocking him down. Amazingly, though, Amari Stoudemire, who has dominated the second half, only has 2 more rebounds in the entire game than Steve Nash does.
Nash back in. Nash sitting for just a short time. Shot clock down to 5. Nash tied up. Gets it to Hunter. Oh, Steve Nash, so patient and so poised.
The way he drops the ball, just an 1/8 of an inch, and freezes all the defenders' arms, and then just snaps it right by there. That is beautiful.
Duncan, this time Hunter comes out on him. Parker blows by Nash inside, nearly left his feet. Almost a turnover. Barry with the save. And Parker with the left hand.
Jim Jackson, what is he doing in the corner over there? Brent Barry was 5 feet off that ball, and Jim Jackson just let him get it.
Talking so much about Nash, and he has been brilliant, with Tony Parker having another strong game. 22 for Parker. Nash again.
That's the record right there.
First player in NBA history to have 4 straight playoff games of at least 25 points and 10 assists. 5.5 remaining.
Just massive. Oscar Robertson and Michael Jordan, Tony Parker going right at Steve Nash.
But Nash having his problems with Parker down the other end.
Most players have problems with Tony Parker.
Parker's so quick and very aggressive in this series through the first 2 games. Jimmy Jackson lost it. Dangerous pass, but Marion recovers. Shot clock winding down. Marion with a left hand rushed it. And Bowen the rebound.
That's why you have to have the ball in Steve Nash's hand.
Bowen hurt his wrist as Parker swatted at it. Looked like he whacked him on the arm. Duncan. Tim Duncan won't go. Ori the offensive rebound. Barry for 3. Barry again.
How much fun is Brent Barry having? Key play to track that ball down in the corner and out hustle Jim Jackson, set up Tony Parker. Now with the 3.
And Stoudemire foul before the shot. And he's got to be careful. That might be a technical. Robert Ori, Stoudemire trying to talk him out of it.
Got to get your hands off the referee there.
And he pushed him off. You know, he didn't mean it. Yeah, he has to give him a technical foul. Stoudemire just letting his emotions get the best of him. And boy, that could be a costly technical. Mike D'Antoni and Billy Spooner. Spooner letting D'Antoni vent his anger. So a 1-shot technical. And then 2 free throws coming up for Stoudemire.
Down the lane, Stoudemire, who has just been unstoppable. I don't know about that.
Well, and Ori,
they both had their hands on the ball.
What is Ori doing going to confront him? But either way, you have to stay away from that stuff in games like this. And Barry barely misses the technical, so it doesn't come back to haunt him. Listen, there's no need to do that. There's no need to do that, Bill.
I'm not quite sure what he did other than saying, let go of the ball here. Quit grabbing me and fouling me.
So now Stoudemire should shoot free throws down the other end. I thought they called a foul. And Stoudemire should shoot 2 free throws. The foul was against Ori. And that's Ori's second. The officials now conferring just to double check. Are they saying it was on the ground? It should be a 2-shot foul.
What's the team foul situation like?
Neither team even close to the bonus. Let's watch. Oh yeah, it's obviously a 2-shot foul.
They're going to give it to him on the side.
Oh, that's a bad call.
Amari Stoudemire was clearly shooting the ball.
Bennett Salvatore warning Mike D'Antoni. That's enough. That's a bad call. That should be a 2-shot foul. They're not in the penalty. It's only the first team foul, but that should not happen. That was in the act of shooting.
First team foul with 4 minutes to go and 22 seconds in the 4th quarter. That is a great position for the San Antonio Spurs.
So Stoudemire will not shoot the 2 free throws. Instead, they'll inbound. Suns have to put it behind them and now play. Nash being chased. Duncan reaching in on a foul on Duncan. And Duncan has picked up his 5th. They'll inbound again.
Tim Duncan stepped out, but on the move right there, the long reach in.
And Duncan knew it. 3rd team foul against San Antonio.
Tony Parker just makes everything so difficult for Nash, just pestering him every single dribble.
Stoudemire goes at Robert Ori. Offensive foul on Stoudemire. Robert Ori with the big defensive play. And that's the 3rd on Stoudemire.
Suns cannot lose their poise right here. The drive in right there, Robert Ori in outstanding position, protects himself, lowered the shoulder right into the chest.
Ori does so much more than shoot 3-pointers. Such a smart playoff experience.
Changing defense up against from Stoudemire, confusing him.
Duncan leaning in. And a foul call. And the Suns
Spending a lot of time with the referees here.
Arguing quite a bit. There's still 3:49 remaining and big free throws now for Tim Duncan.
As Hunter picks up the foul, his fourth.
Duncan is so patient, always trying to position himself so that the defender has to come across his body to get to the ball.
Look at that second half for Duncan.
After the 1-for-7 disaster, so reminiscent of the Game 6 in Seattle, where he couldn't make anything until the game winner.
And Duncan hits the first free throw. Duncan is now 17 of 20 from the line in this series thus far. Still plenty of time remaining. The Suns, for the second straight game, had a lead going into the fourth quarter. And Duncan right now gives the Spurs a three-point advantage. This is their largest lead of the second half.
And look at Parker right up in Nash's face, forcing him to take time off the clock, keeping them out of the offense. What defensive effort.
Nash gets inside. Mismatch. Nash taking Duncan off the dribble. Stoudemire! Oh, what a pass from Nash!
Nash cupped that ball and held it. He had no place to go. He had to pass it and was still able to deliver.
Eyes in the back of his head. Duncan left open. Duncan won't go. And Hunter tries to tip it. And Hunter calls timeout. Did not want to take a chance of turning it over. Greg Popovich is furious right now. He's upset with Tim Duncan. And a 20-second timeout called by the Suns.
What's the offense? Just give it to little Stevie and get out of his way and then come in behind him. He's got the ball with the left hand behind the back wraparound. And the beautiful thing about playing with Steve Nash, it's just like playing with Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, all the great ones. Just keep moving. Give him the space to make the play and then follow in behind him because they're going to be looking for you. That was really pretty.
But Nash and Stoudemire, they've got such great chemistry this year. Nash knew where Stoudemire was going to be, and Stoudemire had a feeling the pass was a little to the side, but the 22-year-old grabbed it and was able to finish. Mike D'Antoni realizing his team down one with 3:05 remaining. It's been a magical season for the Suns. The third greatest turnaround in NBA history. They won 33 more games this year than last season. They had the best record in the NBA. Nobody predicted that. 62 wins. But right now they need a victory because if they fall down 0-2 in this best-of-7 series, they're in big trouble heading to San Antonio.
3 minutes, 5 seconds, the season on the line right now. Nash, brilliant play the last time, but it's all walking the ball up the court. That's not Phoenix Sun basketball. Try to do something against the tenacious defense of Tony Parker. Joe Johnson only can dream about getting in there. Just this young, brilliant player who really the world didn't get to see this year because of that terrible injury to the face.
The world saw him during the regular season, and hopefully we'll be back Saturday. Meanwhile, the San Antonio Spurs, they've won 2 consecutive big road games. Game 6 in Seattle against the Sonics. Game 1 in Phoenix of this series.
Duncan's on the bench protecting the foul.
Nash for 3! And the Suns by 2. 29 points. Ginobili foul on the way to the basket. And the Suns with only their 3rd team foul. Sean Marion will pick up his 3rd.
NBA TV.
Duncan again with 5 fouls. Both teams have a foul to give. Ginobili. Robert Horry for 3. Puts it in. Robert Horry once again from downtown.
The motion offense for San Antonio. Everybody handling it as opposed to just the one guy for Steve was up top rubbing that ribcage, calling for that pick.
Nash getting in the paint. Tough shot for Nash. Won't go. Horry lost it, but Duncan does grab it.
No need to go crazy in the backcourt if you're Amari Stoudemire.
Robert Horry once again coming up with big plays. He drew a charge. Of course, he hit a 3-pointer.
wide open shots. Those are the ones that tend to go down.
Shot clock at 5. Ginobili. Oh, Ginobili with the move. It's good. Manu Ginobili puts the Spurs up by 3.
Behind his back, reverse spin. Remarkable.
Nash finding Stoudemire, drives inside, can't finish. Duncan avoided him with the 5 fouls, and Stoudemire couldn't put it in. And the Suns need a stop.
Trouble with the double clutch. Finish strong. Throw down the dunk.
Ginobili. That's a 2-pointer. Ginobili, back-to-back buckets, and it's a 5-point game. Suns need a timeout.
They're not going to go for the timeout. They're just going to go with it.
Yep, Mike D'Antoni says play on.
This is the strength of their game.
Richardson for 3. Stoudemire chases after the rebound, and it's Suns ball. Now a timeout.
Ginobili is just too good in every aspect. We may have to reevaluate that because the fourth quarter, the closing 6 minutes, have belonged to the San Antonio Spurs.
Again, for the Suns, they've had a couple of tough playoff battles. Certainly the Mavericks was a difficult series, and they certainly missed Joe Johnson. Without him, guys playing extra minutes. Now you see the Suns still with a timeout. Down 5, plenty of time remaining with 4:05 left as the Suns will inbound in their front court. This one far from over, especially with the offensive ability of the Phoenix Suns.
But you have to attack quickly, and the way that Tony Parker is forcing Nash to over-dribble makes it very difficult for this Sun offense to get on track.
Marion steps back, and he's fouled by Bowen. There's the foul to give. So they'll inbound again with 1:04 remaining. Mike D'Antoni saying what's going on there as Bruce Bowen and Marion get tied up.
The toughness of the Spurs coming in on the road. Robert Horry, Bruce Bowen, Brent Barry, all making very solid contributions.
Nash sets it up. Stoudemire goes inside. This time he finishes. 3-point game. Now they need a stop, something that they have not been able to do in the fourth quarter of these 2 games. Ginobili, Duncan puts it in, and the lead back to 5.
See Nash up in transition right now. Poor defense by the Suns on the pick and roll.
Nash to Marion. Quentin Richardson. Richardson gets inside. Nice move from Richardson.
Unlike Dallas, San Antonio, they're guarding the 3 and giving them the 2.
But can they get the stop? 7-second difference between shot and game clock.
When they come off this high screen and Duncan's setting, Stoudemire or whoever, Sean Marion, they've got to step out on Ginobili.
Shot clock down to 5. And Marion with the foul. They have a foul to give, but now, with 11.2 remaining, they have to foul on the next inbound. Because the San Antonio Spurs can dribble it out.
And Popovich is going to call a timeout here and set this one up. The season's right here.
Duncan, Horry, Barry, Ginobili, and Parker on the floor for San Antonio. Ginobili gets away. Duncan missed him there. Now they get Horry and immediately commit the foul. So Horry will go to the free throw line. Robert Horry with a chance. He's a 73% free throw shooter for his career. This will be his first free throw attempt of the evening.
But so many of the big moments, all the years, the 2-time world champion as Akeem Olajuwon's sidekick. Then with Shaquille O'Neal and Phil Jackson and Kobe Bryant. And now right here to end the dream to the Phoenix Suns.
Big miss. Jimmy Jackson looking over to Mike D'Antoni. Do we call the timeout here? They only have 1 timeout remaining. And he's telling Jackson yes, because they need to advance the ball. Robert Horry with a huge free throw right here. Four-point lead. Clutch free throw from the veteran. And now Phoenix certainly have their work cut out for them. They call their final timeout, where they'll advance the ball to the front court.
And Jim Jackson is the inbounder, and He's much more of a scorer than a passer here, and they even get it inbounds.
Jackson looking, finding Nash. Nash will take it to the basket. Gets inside. Stoudemire the rebound. 2-point game. They need to foul right away.
That's a technical foul on Steve Nash. He grabbed Robert Horry. You cannot grab the...
They call a delay of game warning against Nash. So the Spurs will inbound with 5.1 remaining.
Notice how Horry quickly grabbed that ball and tried to get it right in, so the defense for Phoenix could not get set.
And a timeout called by San Antonio. So the Spurs will inbound. 2-point lead. They're still going to have to hit some free throws. But a key here, even if they go down and miss one or two, Phoenix has to go all the way down the floor.
But this delay of game that they call really works to Phoenix's advantage here. Robert Horry, the ball... That has to be a more serious violation than delay of game, because now Phoenix can set their defense up.
But Nash, always just say bumped into him and called the delay of game. But it's clear he wasn't. That was an intentional bump, if that's the case.
I love those rose-colored glasses.
All right, but again, the key, the Suns are out of timeouts, but also the Spurs are out of timeouts, Bill. And you have to inbound the ball.
But San Antonio has better inbounders. Robert Horry is outstanding at throwing the ball in. The problem is, you don't really want to throw it high to Tim Duncan because he's not a great free throw shooter.
You know what, Bill? I'm looking at P.J. Carlesimo talk to the officials. Sometimes there was a rule recently in the NBA about in the final 2 minutes of a game, those delay game warnings are sometimes an automatic technical foul. In this case, obviously, it wasn't called, but the Spurs can't think of it right now. They've just got to worry about getting the ball inbounds and then hitting a free throw. But remember, the Suns have to go the length of the floor. They can't advance the ball with a timeout. So once again, free throw shooting huge. It's always the last thing you talk about in an NBA game in terms of who wins and loses, but so often it makes the difference in a victory or a loss.
But look at Popovich. He's saying, let's get going, guys. Quit talking to the refs and play basketball here.
The Spurs will advance the ball on their timeout, so they'll inbound in their front court with 5.1 remaining.
And Duncan will be the inbounder once again.
Duncan has a look on his face as if, boy, I love playing in these kind of games.
And notice how they set Tony Parker up in the far end of the court to give even more space for the guys to break free. And Brent Berry, such a wonderful free throw shooter. You'd love to get it to him or to Manu Ginobili here.
You can throw it in the backcourt. Suns have to be careful not to foul before the ball's in play. Duncan gets it to Ginobili. And Ginobili fouled with 4.2 remaining. And Manu Ginobili will go to the line. He's 2 for 3.
And it was Robert Horry who set the screen that freed up Manu Ginobili.
Ginobili hits 2 free throws and this game is over.
No timeouts for the Phoenix Suns.
So they have to go the length of the court in 4.2. Ginobili normally an excellent free throw shooter. Way short. Spurs lead is 2, so the Suns still alive. All right, Bill, how about if Ginobili hits this and it's a 3-point game? If you're the Spurs, do you foul and not let them take a 3?
Immediately. Foul immediately, make it a free throw contest.
Remember, Dallas did not when Nash hit that 3 to tie the game. 3-point game. They're not going to foul. Nash puts up a 3. Oh, short. And the Spurs take a 2-0 lead as they head back to San Antonio. A crushing loss for the Phoenix Suns.